By the way, people who say that Corvairs are inexpensive hobby cars, and no. So Calvin has asked me to once again participate in Make It with Calvin. I have a project going that relates to the infamous Corvair. When I first put the car on the road and I would go into a coasting condition, I would hear this grinding and scraping sound. And it turned out that what the problem was is that the axle which passes through the A-arm was scraping. And according to the people on the Corvair forum, the likely cause was the transmission mounts that they had rotted out. And when I took a look at them, it wasn't so much that there was a vertical displacement, but that there was a forward and back motion where they had been like pinched and moved forward from rotting rubber. So I looked into replacing them, and whoa, lo and behold, $170 for two mounts that were would been chipped and tax on them. So I decided to look into gutting the rubber out and refilling. That went a little bit bonkers because it was a combination of either people saying to use two-part urethane, and the results of that would have been the potential of shrinkage, which maybe not had held the two parts together, or to use something called Window Weld made by 3M, which was a single part. And we have a plane flying overhead. Anyway, so the single part problem is that it's going into about a cavity that's about 2.5 inches deep and about maybe 2 inches wide, although there's a threaded metal rod that runs through the center. So I wound up putting it in 1/8-inch layers and letting it cure for 2 hours, and another layer and another layer. The product didn't show up till 11 o'clock in the morning, and it took me 24 hours in 1/8-inch layers of 2.5 inches total depth to make it work. So we're going to go ahead and open up what we call the incubator. So these parts are moisture cured, and I made up this cardboard box, and I put in these cups of water with a wicking paper to help disperse moisture in the box. And I also ran a thermometer, which you can see is about 85 degrees right now, but is typical, as I would have the lid more closed, was about somewhere between 90 and 105 degrees, depending on the temperature of the day. So here's the parts in question. It is one of two mounts. This area in here is a necessary gap. The rubber inside is meant to flex, and this is a safety. So if there's a failure, this washer on the top will keep the two parts from separating. So if let me grab the parts over here. To create that gap, I took an old computer mouse pad with the rubber on the back and a couple of pieces of paper that were used for watercolor painting that Calvin's grandmother had, and I cut them, made the right spacing, and it worked really well because to remove that I simply soaked the end in water and the paper broke down and I was able to remove it. And then I had pre-slit the hard part of the plastic coating, but the foam on the back I hadn't, so it came apart real easy and slid out, and I have the gap that is necessary. This is the end that I filled from, and as I said, I put it in what wound up being 1/8-inch layers. So we're going to venture now and go and put them in the Corvair, and hopefully There's a good bond, and all will work well, and I'll have saved the $170. Although, to be honest with you, and I still owe Calvin the money, the urethane was $33. So still a far cry from 170. Just in case people were curious, this is the 3M Windo-Weld 08609, and this was the recommended product that people had said to use. One more thing that we did not discuss is that there's something called shore hardness, and the shore hardness is measured in various formats, but the most common one talked about is the A shore hardness. And the shore hardness of this urethane is stated to be somewhere between 55 and 60. There ones that are the two-part urethane were more definitive. They were anywhere from, I think you could start them at 20 or 30 and gone up to, I think it's 94, which is the shore hardness. But even when you got to the 60, people were saying that you're more likely to notice and feel the vibration. So let's venture to put these in the car and we'll see how they work. Okay, so this cavity right here is where the transmission mount goes, and that's the cross member mount that it bolts to. And one of the other things about this is there's shims in here that allow you to adjust the rear toe of the car. There's not too much more I can say and do until I get this installed, because I can barely move under here, and this is about the only shot that I can get. And let's see if we can finagle this into place. Oh, that one went in nice and easy. Except that I don't have the bolts to hold it in.
Where's the bolts?
They're in the garage.
Do you want me to get them?
Yeah, because, well, actually, there's going to be a delay because I need to literally put the bolts in first.
So wait, what does the wire do?
Well, you wrap it around the threads of the bolt and hope to God it comes through the hole before it
Oh, I see.
comes loose. And that the wire isn't so thick that it binds in the hole. Might be on the verge of a minor miracle here. Nice of our neighbors to add a little musical cadence. Now if I can get the magnet to stay on the bottom, remove the wire. Whoa! It worked! Monel wire, magnetic piece. This won't be easy to get in, but it should be easier. Got it. All right. Now, let me grab the nuts and the washer. One of the secondary problems is when you put this up, the mount, that it wants to push the bolt back up into the hole. Got him?
Yeah.
Okay. But let's see what happens. Forget which side it came in. It's almost like you've got to use the mount to hold the bolt from rotating. Okay, you can move your finger now. Put it on there. Now the other side dropped off. A special wrench that I can bring in over the top on 3 of these 4. Okay, I got it count. Thank you. Just point out the special wrench I was talking about. This is what's called a distributor wrench. It's made for Chevrolets, and it's got the 90-degree bends in it so that it can get underneath the distributor and you can get up and outside and get some leverage on the bolt.
when you need to adjust timing on a Chevrolet distributor. There was one that I could not get to here, and that's actually, I believe, this one right here. The first one Calvin and I did. Oh, hold on, one popped off. I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why it works better with one person doing it is that you get a feel for when the wrench is on and when it's not.
Dig it.
Almost.
Dig it.
There we go. I don't want to strip anything out. All right.
And then now the wrench
Now
gets
the
stuck.
wrench gets stuck.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so now this is where it gets a little tricky because we need to elevate the engine, which is by the floor jack right over here.
Do you want me to lift it a little bit?
Yeah, let me get the nuts that go onto here
Alright.
so I get everything ready to go. Okay, so that one goes on there. That one there.
Oh, it was just enough.
Let me do this. Let me just lightly thread the nut on,
That's a good idea.
and then we can go back and do the washer dealie. And if there's the slightest angling of this, it might be that moving the mount 180 degrees may or may not be a favorable move. The other thing is you can always elongate the hole, but I don't kind of want to do that. Okay, I want to have as much wiggle room as I can possibly have, so we get everything kind of working favorably. Okay, I think we're kind of in alignment. Okay, take her out. Good. Okay, good, perfect.